Chapter 10. So in Chapter 10, we look at leading projects and the kind of skills that a project manager needs in order to lead projects and get people through projects. So we start off the chapter with this managing versus leading, and what is the difference between the two? Well, managing is just dealing with the complexity of the project, working out those plans and objectives, the daily activities, um, any technical problems that would come up, making trade-offs among time costs, project scope, etc. Where leading is coping with change. So not only the ability to initiate change, but recognizing when you need to make change to keep your project on track and what changes those might be. You also want to be able to provide direction and motivation for your team, and that's a leadership skill versus a management skill. The next thing this chapter talks about is the different project stakeholders. So who is involved in the project as a stakeholder? Anyone that is working on the project or has any interest in the project being completed is a stakeholder. Projects involve you as a project manager developing relationships with any stakeholders in the project. Different groups of stakeholders have different stakes in the outcome of the project. Some are financial, some are time, some are cost, some are client. So project management is the ability to facilitate both the project logistics, but the people necessary and the relationship building as part of this project. So we have this project manager in the middle has their projects and the team working on the project. But then outside of that, you also have different managers within the organization. You have a project sponsor. That project sponsor is whoever in top management helps facilitate the project and is your helping you with the project. You have customers, outside organization, any contractors. If you're outsourcing resources, you might have to get through government agencies, depending on what your project is. You would have to work with government agencies for certifications, for permissions for building. If you're doing anything with food and drugs, you need like FDA and USDA approval. So depending on the project, you're going to have a variety of stakeholders. We also talk about building these relationships. So one of these relationships is this mutual kind of development of currencies, our influence currencies. So currencies and influence currencies are this ability to develop relationships that are built on the exchange of favors. This is an example of quid pro quo relationship where if I do something for you, then you do something for me. So we have a wide variety of organizational currencies. So task-related currencies, resources. So maybe you have a resource working on your project right now that another team needs, and they have a resource that you would like access to. And how can you mutually benefit each other while helping both of your projects or tasks move along? Position-related currencies. So giving recognition, acknowledging how hard your team is working, providing a chance to be known by higher ups or significant others. So kind of that leg up thing for one of your team members, that it's not just you as the project manager who is making this project happen, but you have an entire team who is working underneath you and facilitating that project being completed. We have inspiration-related currencies. So you want to make sure that you're helping your team see the larger significance of the project, especially if they're getting really bogged down in those technical details. So helping them to be inspired in the project and to see the bigger picture for that project. Any relationship related currencies, giving personal emotional support, listening to others' concerns and issues, helping them to feel like they're needed on the team. And also personnel related currencies, challenge and learning. Are we sharing tasks that increase skills and abilities? So are we offering ways for the people who are working on our teams? Are we offering ways for them to better themselves by learning new skills or to take on new challenges? Are we giving them ownership and influence, or are we potentially micromanaging the project and not letting them have ownership over what they're working on? When we are creating our social network that we need to build, the first thing that we want to do is map those stakeholder dependencies. So that's similar to the map that we saw at the beginning. So who do we need involved with us on our project team? Whose cooperation do we need to get this project off the ground? What resources do we need? Whose approval will we need for various things? Whose opposition would keep us from accomplishing the project? Is there somebody in the organization, and this depends on the size of the organization, but is there people in the organization who are against us completing this project? Or even if we're a government entity or a state, are we taking on a project that maybe our citizens don't agree with, and we're going to see opposition from one of those stakeholders? Then thinking about different stakeholders. So what differences exist between the team and those on whom the team will depend? How do the stakeholders view the project? Is every stakeholder in favor of the project? Which stakeholders have the most influence on the project? What is our current relationship with the stakeholders? How can we build a better relationship with the stakeholders? So we have this example of a stakeholder map for a software installation project. So we have the information technology director, top management, the information technology manager, the purchasing department who's going to be helping us purchase this software, the vendor that we're purchasing the software from, just a variety of the stakeholders we need for this project. So when we think about how we're going to get this project off the ground, we have to think about how we're going to work with these different stakeholders. We obviously want the information technology director and the information technology manager on board with this software installation project. They're going to be key helpers in our implementation of this project. The software vendor is also a huge stakeholder because we're purchasing a product from them. So whatever resources they offer us in training, in installation management, etc., are going to be very beneficial to us. Another concept from the chapter is called management by wandering around. So this means that it's important for us to walk around and interact with people who are involved in our projects. So we want to have interactions with any stakeholders and team members in order to build relationships. So these characteristics of effective project management would be that we keep in touch with key stakeholders. We initiate contact with them. We want them to be in the loop so that they're supporting of what is happening to this project. We want to anticipate potential problems before they happen. We want to be proactive and not reactive. We want to provide encouragement to our team so that they continue working and giving us their highest efficiency. We also want to reinforce the objectives and vision of the project so that inspiration and intervene anytime we're needed to resolve conflicts and prevent any stalemates. We're going to talk in chapter 11 about managing project teams and different issues that we get into with groups. Now, this management by wandering around can look different in different organizations. Right? The idea behind that would be that we're able to walk around our office and interact face to face with anyone who would have any stakeholder in any project. As we know in today's work world, that's not always the case. We have remote teams, we have remote um, vendors. We can't just walk around the office and interact with everybody that we might need to. So we need to find different ways to facilitate those conversations. And we still need to work on initiating contact with key stakeholders. It just looks a little bit different than standing up and walking around the office and having coffee next to somebody's desk.